Everyone, welcome to Tom's Man Shed. Okay, today's review is on this, yet another LIDL'S Parkside tool. I was in there last week. I thought I can't resist getting one of these. I have a few times wanted one of these. It's a cordless ratchet. So instead of using your normal socket set handle and doing this, and of course you need room for that. So if you're working in very confined spaces, particularly if you've got one like mine, which isn't a very fine ratchet, so you've got to move it a bit before it ratchets in, something like this where you just pull the trigger and it motors round electrically would be very, very handy. I've been doing a lot of work on my kit car recently, and I could have done with one of these. So I'll be going into a full review of this. I'll do the usual, hold it up, the specs and everything, very, very shortly. But first of all, I just want to go into a bit why I like LIDL'S Parkside tools, which I did a video about 4 years ago on, but I just want to sort of like brush on that quickly and show you a couple of examples. If you want to get straight to the review on this cordless ratchet, I'll put the timestamp on the bottom here. There'll also be the coded red line underneath with annotated all along at various stages. But if you want to jump straight to the review on this cordless ratchet, I'll put the time you need to fast forward to up here now. So that'll bypass all this waffling. But the reason I wanted to do this was because I've had a couple of comments recently saying, oh, Park, one guy called it Park SHIT tools, not Parkside, Park tools. Which I thought was a bit unfair. And I've always said, yeah, they're not Milwaukee, they're not DeWalt, they're not Bosch, they're not Makita, but they're also not anything like that in a price bracket. Most of their power tools, they do a professional range, a black colour, that use brushless motors. Most, like this one I'll be reviewing today, use a brushed motor. So yeah, if you're using it every day, intensely, professionally, they're not the tool for you. They're not designed as that. They're more a hobbyist, DIY, occasional use tool. And if you just use them in that respect, they are absolutely fine. The guy who called them Park SHIT also said, oh, everyone he's had has broke within 12 months. So it made me wonder, why would you carry on buying one particular manufacturer if every time you buy it, it breaks within 12 months? That's not the experience I've had. Oh, and by the way, I am not sponsored by LIDL'S in any way. LIDL'S don't do any sort of associate scheme like Amazon do, affiliate scheme where you can get a commission if somebody buys one. They don't do any of that. Every single one I get, I buy with my own money. Now, he mentioned, that same commenter, that oh, he doesn't buy Parkside anymore. He buys middle range tools like Erbauer and Ryobi. Coincidentally, I think I've had two Ryobi tools. This still left over from one. It was a small sort of a light, inspection light. That broke. And this Erbauer light, which I absolutely love, and I've done a video on it up here, a repair of it. This broke down. It needed a new circuit board inside, which is a dead easy swap. So, you know, you pay your money, take your choice. Some people have some luck, some people good luck, some people have bad luck. The Ryobi and the Erbauer one I've had have both broken down. Most of the Parkside stuff I have hasn't. But one thing I did want to say was how good the guarantee is. Like I say, it's a 3-year warranty with all their stuff. If it breaks down within 1 year, if you take it back to the store and the same product is in that particular week, if you want to swap, they'll swap it, no problem. I've done that a couple of times. One was with a tyre inflator, and I honestly can't remember what the other one was, a swap. I've also taken a horrible little, and it'll be coming out soon now, it's summer, a portable little cube thing like this that you fill with water, air cooler, which was rubbish. Again, check out the review on that. So if it is rubbish, I will tell you. I will be honest. If I like it, again, I'll tell you. I've also done one on a rotary cutting tool, which was a great tool, but it's almost impossible to get the cutters for it because they're a weird size. Again, check out the review of that up here. But what I did want to say was the great experience I had years and years ago with a drill. Now, I built this shed, I extended this shed 6 years ago this very week. I was still doing it. And during the construction of it, in this bit, there again, I won't put a link up here, but there's a video on it somewhere. In this bit alone, the floorboarding, all the MDF walls, the framework outside, the roof, there's well over 1,000 screws. And it took me a couple of weeks to make, and I was non-stop using a LIDL'S drill. Now, the main drill I used was, for all the heavy stuff, that was this. So yeah, I do have some quality tools. This Bosch drill, been absolutely fantastic, but was not cheap. But what I tended to use during the construction of the shed was this one. You can tell how old it is. The rusty clasps. And if you know sort of Parkside's drills, you can see how old this is. Now, I'll just put my specs on. So like I say, I used this for the construction of the shed 6 years ago, and I'd already had it a couple of years before that. Coming up for sort of 3 years before that. I liked it because you can put a drill in there, and you can also take the chuck off, and you've got your screwdriver there. Now, this was like I say, used to make the shed, so it was non-stop working for 2 years, not the sort of 2 weeks, not the sort of thing it was originally designed for. And at the end of that, and it was 2 years, 10 months old. So I thought, right, it's under its 3-year warranty. I'd kept the receipt. I always keep the receipts. I rung up LIDL'S, great service, got through straight away, talked to somebody, totally English speaking, easy to understand, and explained the problem. And you can see here, it had started to come apart at the back. It still worked. I tried tightening it up on these screws, and it wouldn't. The plastic thread, the plastic had gone inside, and the screws were just slipping. Now, as you can see, it still works. And this is like, like I say, 6, 7, 8, nearly 9 years old now. It runs on their 2-volt thing, although they've changed the design of this. Their new batteries, which look exactly the same as this, are a slightly different fit. They don't fit in. But I rung them up and explained the problem, and they said, right, we'll send you a new one, and you can keep this old one. They didn't even want this one back. So they sent me a new one. The new one is here. And it's a whole new one in a whole new case with a whole new battery. And as you can see, that's the brand new one. You can see I've never used it. Very rarely used it, marks on the thing, but there's hardly any scratches because I keep using this old one. I thought I'll use this old one until it totally dies or totally falls apart. Then I'll go on to using the new one. And I've had no need. And yeah, it's sort of smelling a bit now of burning. I think that the brushes are probably getting worn, but it still does work. And that is like 9 years old now and has had a heck of a lot of use. So that's the sort of service you get off LIDL'S. So yeah, if you look at them slots at the back, you can see the sparks. And as I let go, there is a bit of a spark. That's the old one. That's the new one. So just about the same really as regards that. You will get that on a brushed tool. So I just thought I'd do that just to show you that even though they're not at the top of the league on power and everything, they do prove to be a pretty reliable tool. And like I said, I've given them far more use than they're really designed to, and 90% of them have been fine for me. Another response I got on a recent spanner I did was, oh, mine broke within a week or something like that. So I couldn't be bothered taking it back. I just threw it in the bin. Well, you know, if you can't be bothered taking it back to get, even if it's 15 quid refund, it's a 15 quid refund. So money to burn, obviously. You can just throw stuff away and can't be bothered to take it back to your local store and get a full refund. So anyway, I thought I'd just put that in because, yeah, like I say, I do get a bit annoyed sometimes that the way they are slagged off, and everybody knows they are not the best tools you can get, but they're pretty good. So back to the review finally on this. So that's how you get it in its usual blow molded case. It comes without the battery or the charger, as most of Lidl's stuff do now. It was 25 quid. I won't show you any comparisons on Amazon because it's going on a bit longer than normal anyway, this review. But 25 quid without the battery and charger isn't as cheap as quite a lot of their other stuff. I've had stuff sort of like 15 quid sort of like bracket. I would have thought it'd been more in the 20 quid range. I looked on Amazon and you can get some no brand names with just like a 1 year warranty for about the same price with a charger and battery. But the charger is just a bog standard plug-in one with a barrel connection. It's not a proper one that, you know, maintains the battery properly and gives you charge status and everything like these. So you will have to source your own charger and battery for it. It uses batteries just like them drills I've just shown you. The small 12-volt form factor, I'll show you in a minute when we open it up. But bear in mind, you will have to get that. So I'll just hold the box up first and you can have a read what it says. Maximum torque, 54 Newton meters. We'll be testing that approximately soon. No load speed of 250 revs. It's 3/8. It's for 3/8 sockets, but you get a 3/8 to 1/8 adapter in there. The other side, if you need to. See, compact design. That's the ideal thing. These are for hard to reach places with no movement to swing it left and right. So let's see what's in the case. So sadly, oops. Cover off, and say most Lidl's tools come in this blow molded case, and they usually have space inside for a charger and a battery. Mine just in the garage, so that's what you get. Oops. The space, like I say, in here for, you know, a full charger and a spare battery. That is a spare one. There's one in it, and you can store it in the case with the battery in place. And there's this adapter here, which will show you that it's come out of its place. That goes in there. And you've got your usual instruction book here. I'll hold this up to the screen now and freeze the pages, and I'll just show you page by page, and you can whiz forward that or freeze frame should you need any info from the book. So as with all or most Lidl's books, you're able to fold out the front page like that. So if you want to identify the parts, then you can still open it to read all the bits. So I've just taken some stills here of the instruction book. I've not included every single page. I've left some of the pages 3 to 5, I think, the safety ones out. But there will be some relevant info on here, like service numbers and spare batteries and things. So just feel free to freeze the frame as you like it and zoom in to the info that you want. So that's the unit itself. Getting info there on the badge. The battery just goes in all like that. And then clicks in. That's the trigger. You can't operate the trigger until you've pushed in this little safety latch. That isn't a left and a right button. There's two, you can see. It's not a left and a right rotation selector like a drill. It's just that you can press it from either side. There's a little light here at the front that comes on, you'll see in a second. And that's your drive shaft there. This is all obviously solid metal. It's quite heavy. The weight will be in the instructions there. Not sure how heavy it is, but that is your rotation selection. So if you're undoing the nut, turn it one way. If you're tightening up, turn it the other way. That's it, like that. And as you press it, you might see moving in here a little thing backwards and forwards. For various speeds, the more you press it in and out. You've got your little light on the front. Again, I'll turn the lights out, show you how effective the light is. So you can see it's fine. Move it around at the back of me, you can see. So yeah, it's not going to fill the street with a flood of light, but I think it's more than enough to light up what you're working on. And the adapter is, like I say, it's a 3/8 drive there, as you can see, and you get this adapter. It just clicks on there to convert it to 1/2-inch drive. Don't get any sockets with it. That's all you get, the bare motor and that. I think that's all you sort of need to know on that. Oh, sorry, the battery state of charge. Little thing there to push it in. You can see it's up to full charge. And again, being a brushed design, you will see sparks from inside. So yeah, all brushed motors, the basic sort of motors, do create sparks. The lifespan isn't as much as a brushless motor. Still a few thousand hours more than I will ever be using this. I've never had to renew brushes in any of LIDL'S tools, and I've used some of them quite a bit. But yeah, you're not going to get a brushless ratchet driver for 25 quid either. So that's basically the unit itself. So Parkside do two ranges of tools with the 12-volt battery like this one and a 20-volt battery for the bigger tools. These are the 20-volt battery sizes. So you've got the 2-amp one and the 4-amp one. Obviously, 4-amp one will last twice as long as the 2-amp one, and sometimes give you a bit more oomph, not fade off as early. But they're the 20-volt ones. And like I say, this one uses the 12-volt system. Now you can get, and I'll show you, put everything in the case this time, battery and charger. Like I say, you don't get battery and charger with it, but just to show you the case, you can fit the charger. That's what you'll have to buy separately. And you can put that spare battery in it there, but you can also, that's 2-amp. Again, I would imagine that's going to be plenty for this unless you're using it all day long. But you can get a 4-amp 12-volt. So it's got that same thinner insertion method for these smaller tools, but it's got a 4-amp battery in it. And as you can see, there is room here. Shows you this little diagram here. That is for the bigger battery. So that 4-amp bit will fit there with the battery going across there like that. So you can carry a 2-amp one in it and a spare 2-amp one, or a 2-amp one in it and a 4-amp one and the charger in the case. If you're ever in LIDL'S and they've got an offer on the batteries, they're worth getting, because they sometimes not like 10% off their battery range, particularly if you're buying a tool with it at the same time. Right, so it's been a week or two now since I filmed that bit, and since then I've managed to get a 4-amp battery. So just to show you, there it is. So the case can carry a 4-amp battery or a spare 2-one, like a spare 2-amp one, like I showed you before there, and you've got your 2-amp one in the unit itself and the battery charger. I've put on that new style, by the way, because that drill I showed you early on, like I said, that is knocking on 10-year-old now, and that was the batteries it used, and you'll see they look very similar to the new ones, but they just won't fit in the new charger. So that's your new style battery. That will go in no problem. This one, it just won't fit because these grooves on the side are in a slightly different place. You can make them fit. If you've got any old batteries that you want to fit into the new style charger, you can shave them grooves off, and then it will fit in the charger. So, like I said, that's the really old one, but like I said, knocking on 10 years, and it's still okay. It's still got plenty of life left in it. And that's the new style that fits this thing. Now on the bottom of that, you'll see it's just them. You got your negative and your positive. Negative, positive, and there's one there. It's just, I don't know what it is, some sort of symbol on it, but that's all there is on the bottom of that. The new 4-amp battery I've just got, and this is the first time I've bought a 4-amp battery. I've found that on the smaller tools like this, the 2-amp seems to do, but I thought I'd buy a 4-amp just for this demo. And you can see that has got an extra little thing on the bottom there that says ID, as you can see. So ID. So I would imagine that is for a more modern charger that they do, a smart charger, so it can analyze the battery better. I'm not too sure, but yeah, so basically it's to show you that you have got space for both batteries and the charger in there. Now, like I said, I bought this 4-amp one for it, and that's what it looked like inside. So a bit bulkier, and you wouldn't fit it in as confined as space, so I don't think I'll be using that, but I will use this battery on some of the other 12-volt range of LIDL'S tools. Still a bit stiff, but it being new to pull out. So we'll stick the 2-amp battery back in. That. But I will be using it in this demo coming up shortly outside to show you what sort of Newton meters it actually reaches with the 4-amp battery in. Because apart from giving you twice the endurance, which is the main thing with the amperage, it will last twice as long, they do also give you a bit more oomph. When they're under the full sort of strain, they'll hold it better than a lesser amp battery. So I thought to give it its full capabilities, I'll put the 4-amp. I tried it on and up with the 12 and then with the 4 to see if it would get it any further, and it didn't. So it doesn't seem to make any difference whether it's on this particular tool, whether it's the 4-amp or the 2-amp. So let's have a look at it outside now, actually tightening like a rusty bolt on an older framework. It's a hammock, an old hammock I've got, to show you that various torques it will reach. Now, it claims on the box, as you saw earlier, 54 Newton meters. It is nowhere near that. It's not even anywhere approaching 54 Newton meters. It's less on tightening than it is on untightening. So for the exact values, you'll see them coming up very, very soon. Now, I was going to try it with this. Now, I've already uploaded, if you check up here, a full review on this torque gauge, where I also compare it to another torque gauge that was faulty from new and had to go back. So this was the one I kept. Like I say, see the card above for the full review of that. And I wanted to check what sort of torque it actually was producing, but you can't use power tools with this. It says do not use power tools, so I don't think it'd do it any good. So what I've done is I've calibrated, I've checked with this in this. And again, I'm doing another review on this. Check the card up above if there is one, but if not, have a look for one of my other videos. I'm recording all three of these at around the same time, so I'm hoping to upload all of them around the same time. And I'm using each of these gizmos to check out the other. So what I've done on this test outside, I've tested it tightening up to a certain torque with this torque wrench, and I've tried this torque wrench with this to see if they tally, and they do. If this says it's slipping at 20, this shows at 40 or 50 or whatever. This will only register from 34 onwards Newton meters. So I've set it to like 40 in that video, or 40 or 50, and try this, and they did tally. So I know that this torque wrench is pretty accurate. If it's saying 50, it is within 1 or 2 Newton meters at 50. So let's see outside now, checking what it will actually tighten to, the cordless ratchet, and what it will untighten to. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the 4 amp battery in it. It's fully charged. Don't know whether you can see that battery gauge, but where are we? There. Whether you can see green in the sunlight, I don't know, but it is definitely fully charged. So we're going to tighten this bolt up here till this stops. Okay, now as soon as it does that, as soon as it locks up, let go of the trigger. Don't continue to hold it thinking you'll get more. You'll just burn out the brushes, being a brushed motor. So that is as tight as it will get it. So I've only got the one socket, so I'm going to put this in here. We're going to set this at its absolute minimum. It's really only, its minimum is 20 Newton meters, but I'm going to set it sort of 10 down from that. So I can't show you close up at every setting, you'll have to take my word for it. But right, that's at 20, go down a full revolution. Right, so that is at 10 degrees. So we'll see if that's got the power to undo it. Zoom back out. No, the torque thing is operating, so it's definitely tightened it up to at least 10 Newton meters. Right, let's put it on 20. Right, that's at 20 Newton meters now. There, it's locking, it's reaching 20, so it's definitely got it to 20. Let's try 25. Right, that's at 25 Newton meters now. Right, and that is moving the nut. So somewhere between 20 and 25 is all it's got it up to. So that's what it actually tightens it to. So yeah, as you saw there, absolutely nowhere near what it claims. It slipped, the torque wrench slipped at 20, so we knew we'd definitely got at least 20 Newton meters of tightening force on it. But 25, it wasn't at 25. 25 undid it. So I would say 22, 23, something like that. And don't forget, like I said, this is what it claims. Where are we? So that 54 Newton meters. Maximum torque, 54 Newton meters. So it's nothing like that on tightening. let's have a look now on how powerful it is at untightening. But what I'm going to do now is, I'm just going to show you on here, I'm going to put this up to 50 and tighten this up to 50 and see if it'll undo the nut at 50 Newton meters. Right, that's on 50 Newton meters now. So we'll tighten this up now to 50 Newton meters with the torque wrench. Okay, that's at 50 now, and it's a long lever this, and it feels very tight. Let's see if it'll undo something. It'll only actually tighten up to about 25 we've just established, but let's see if it'll undo. So twist that to undo. Battery's still fully charged. And just see if it'll undo that at 50 Newton meters. No, it won't. So we'll try 40 Newton meters. So we'll just undo that, and that's somewhere. It's pretty tight. It's 50 Newton meters. So if we tighten this up now, this time just to 40 Newton meters. Okay, that's set at 40 now. If we tighten that, that's 40 Newton meters there. Right, see if it'll undo it at 40 Newton meters. Nope. Well, let's try 35. So each time I've got to loosen this off, and this time we'll just tighten it up to 35. Okay, that's 35 Newton meters. Click in there. Try this. Yeah, that's fine. So 35 Newton meters it will undo. So somewhere between 35 and 40 is its maximum torque on undoing. Somewhere between 20 and 25 was it on tightening up. But like I say, we'll tighten it back up again. Sorry. Right, so that's as tight as it'll go. And when you feel that with a spanner, it's pretty tight, you know. I mean, you can see I'm rocking the whole frame and it's not moving. I've got to put a fair bit in. So for most nuts, that will be enough. Then you just torque the rest up, the last little bit with your torque wrench. So yeah, as you saw there, nothing like the claims. Goodness knows why they claim 54 Newton meters when it's between 20 and 25 to tighten and 35 to 40 to untighten. But there it is. But still a handy tool for, like I said, getting in confined spaces. And if you're not bothered, if it's for a nut and bolt that doesn't need a specific torque, it's fine. That 20 to 25 Newton meters is pretty tough. As you saw with the spanner there, when I've done it, it took a fair bit of undoing. That is a tight nut, so in most cases that would be all right. If you needed more torque, you could run it up the bolt quickly in the confined space with the cordless ratchet driver, and then just do your final torquing up with a torque wrench. So before I do the full summing up and conclusion, let's have a quick look at it now in a scenario where I would use it under the bonnet of my kit car, just to show you how handy it can be in a confined space. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see it. Picking a confined space that's easy to film, it's a bit awkward, but just to show you, this nut here, the bottom of my radiator fan in my kit car, as you can see, the handle is up against that rubber tube there, and as I get to here, it's up against here. So I've only got that movement, about an inch or so of movement, and it's not an extremely fine ratchet on this I've got, so you can see it'll be quite a few turns. Won't be too much of a problem with this because it's only a short thread and one nut, but if I had even less wiggle room than that, it would be very awkward to actually get the ratchet to engage. But if I take it off and put it now on this, if we hold that in there, if it doesn't quite go on, just give it a little turn to another position like that, and this time we should be able to, right, that's it, that's as tight as it'll go. And I can confirm with this one that is pretty tight. I can't hardly, I could get a bit more on that. I can, yeah, you can probably see me moving that a bit, but it's plenty tight enough to engage in the nylock part of it. So hopefully that illustrates how handy it can be getting in really tight places. And again, there isn't a nut here. You can see how sort of like it would be awkward in a tight space there between these parts of the wishbone, but you could just hold it up to that position there and tighten or loosen the nut without any physical movement backwards and forwards. So as you saw there, that's the purpose I'm going to be using it for, and an ideal scenario when you haven't got room between two fixed objects here to move physically. A lever like this, it's ideal, and then you can just, like I say, if torque is important for what you're using it for, just torque up the last bit with your torque wrench. So hopefully this has been of some use to you. I will put links to all these objects that I've used in this video and mentioned. They are Amazon affiliate links, so if you click on them, as always, I'll get a small, and you buy anything from that browsing session, I get a small commission. Helps keep the channel going, so that'd be great. If you're going to buy something, click on that. Obviously, I can't put a link to the Lidl because there's no Lidl affiliate link. And like I say, these three videos, the one on this, the one on this, and the one on the ratchet driver, are all linked together. They each feature the others, so I'm going to be uploading them all about the same time, so check out them at the cards at the end, or just doing a search if you're interested in this digital torque gauge or this torque wrench. So thanks for making it to the very end of the video. I know it's been a long one because I did that 10 minutes at the beginning about another bit about LIDL'S tools in general, but like I said, I hope it's you've reached the end and it has been of some use. So if you haven't already subscribed, it would be fantastic if you could. You do it by clicking the little picture here of the shed, and once you've done that, click the bell icon below and you'll be alerted to any uploads forthcoming. So I hope to catch you for one of them, whatever it may be. Thanks for watching this again. Bye for now.